The coronavirus has killed hundreds of Italians and infected thousands more. To stop it spreading any further, the Italian government announced an emergency decree. After shutting down all of northern Italy, Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte extended the closure to the rest of the country until April the 3rd. This means no museums, no culture sites, and no social gatherings. It's a bad news for a giant exhibition in Rome about the Renaissance master Raphael. Organizers had been optimistic that they could keep people safe.
At the moment, we are open, but not only that, because the low season, the off-season continues, we have a much smaller volume of visitors than usually in March and April, and that means that actually people are fully in the position to take the security distance.
But just a day after those comments, a lot changed. Now, the museum is reportedly paying back 77,000 people who pre-ordered their tickets for the event.
We're disappointed, but we totally understand why they were closing. Actually, we're very excited to come here because we heard about this very special exhibit. But we also heard yesterday that museums would be closing for the coronavirus.
Italy has around 500 museums and culture sites, and last year they received 55 million visitors. But for at least the next month, they will be empty.
We came with the intention of visiting all the beautiful places that there are in Rome. But we talked to another French couple, and they told us that everything would be shut down until April the 3rd.
While tourists are trying to arrange flights back home, locals are in need of entertainment. The Italian culture minister tweeted a plea to TV channels to post more content on social media, while the country's 60 million Italian citizens are advised to stay indoors. And Italian celebrities have been supporting the government's decision under the hashtag #IStayHome.
Darius Arya joins me. He is the director of the American Institute for Roman Culture. Hey, thank you so much for coming on our show today. So, what is happening? All museums, all cultural institutions shut down in a country like Italy. Yeah. So, is this reasonable precaution, you think, or is it a bit paranoid?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's pretty tough, and the measures are to reduce any kind of opportunity for people to come and crowd together. So obviously one of the great things to do is to shut down these kinds of institutions. They'd already shut down the movie theaters and all kinds of events. So the next thing was to close the museums and the sites. I'm personally very sad. I'm an archaeologist. I mean, it breaks my heart, but this is what you have to do. And so we're all on a kind of standby. They encourage us. They want us to be in our homes. And you can go to the pharmacy, you can go to the museum, you can go to, the grocery stores. They don't want you to just hang out outside, but you can take a walk. The main thing is just to keep away from other people. So we literally took our dog for a walk and with our kids that are now doing their homework online and so forth. So we're trying to make the best of it.
So some people believe that these precautions are a little bit too strict. And I mean, for example, it's the most, I think, strict after China. So, but you don't agree. You just think that it makes sense.
I think it totally makes sense. I mean, this is not a joke. And when you see these numbers going up dramatically every day, how do you stop that? The only way to stop this is from people touching and contaminating other people. So the only way you can do that is say, do not go outside. I mean, obviously people have to go to hospitals, people have to work in certain businesses and so forth. And obviously all the supplies are available and so on for you to go to feed your families and so forth. But take this seriously. Don't go out and hang out with 20 friends and cough on each other or touch each other and so forth. So this is just, I think it's going to be a little bit harder in Italy than it is in China because Italy is a democratic country. They can't say, do not go out of your house. So they're not being unreasonable, but you really have to demonstrate, ask, what you're doing, where you're going.
you actually brought me to my next question, because I was reading this report in the New York Times last night, and they interviewed this 26-year-old pizza maker, and he was like, I don't think this is going to work because Italians are better known for flouting rules than following them. So do you think it's actually going to happen?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Of course, there are certain, kind of aspects of any society, any country where you say, well, the Italians, they don't follow the rules. I mean, I understand that. I've lived here for 20 years. But the reality is everyone's really smart. Everyone cares about their family. Everyone cares about the children. Everyone cares about the older people in their lives, the grandparents, the nonni. So I think everyone's, sees the writing on the wall here. And this is a group effort. So I believe that, yes, the majority of people take this very seriously at this point. And the government, I believe that the Prime Minister gave a great talk yesterday. It was very serious. It was good. I think he set the right tone, and I think he pointed out also the young people that are just kind of hanging out in groups and thinking like they're on vacation. This is not a vacation. This is something that is going to require sacrifice. So I believe he set a great tone, and I believe people take that very seriously.
Sure. Okay. So let's talk about the economic repercussions for a second, because obviously the relationship between culture and tourism in Italy is obvious. So what are you expecting out of this? How much harm is it going to leave the country with?
It's devastating. It's already been devastating just from the get-go. I mean, I was with my family on what they call the Settimana Bianca skiing at the end of February when it broke, and you could just immediately feel the impact and the conversation. And everyone I know is Italian. Everyone was talking about how it already impacted on their lives, on their work, and so forth. Vacation, everything. So everyone has lost. I can't think of anyone who's benefiting from any of this, unless maybe you're selling masks or gel soap or something like that. So it's tough. And I work with American programs, and Excavate, and I'm working with the museums and the superintendency, the Ministry of Culture. And it's tough on everybody. And I think, again, they made the right choice to close all these things, because it's the only way to keep people from doing anything. Stay home and, do your homework, read your books, and, play your board games. And
do not go to this once-in-a-lifetime Raphael show, which is such a miss, isn't it?
I already went there. I went there.
Oh, my God. Okay, tell me how it was and what people are missing.
Oh, my God. Listen, it is, I've just called it like it's a Raphael love fest. I mean, everywhere you go. It starts off with the reconstruction of his tomb, which is in the Pantheon. And then as you make your way through 2 floors in the Scuderia, which was basically the stables, the papal stables on the Quirinal Hill, now a nice museum, you go through his life backwards. So at the very end, the last thing is a self-portrait, one of the oldest things that we have, one of the earliest of his work. So because we're celebrating his death. And it was a really, really smart, really well done, just incredible pieces. And I must add, I was very fortunate. I did go to the Sistine Chapel to see the tapestries that were also, they're designed by Raphael. And then they're at the bottom of the walls of the Sistine Chapel. That was on display for the public for 1 week. And I went there twice. And one time I was in the evening with 15 people, out of this world. And one of those tapestries is on the exhibition.
That's excellent. Sorry to cut you off, but at least some people could have the chance to see it. Darius Arya, one fortunate person there. Thank you so much for joining us on Showcase.